Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unscaled Travel Show. So happy that you are here with us. I'm your host, Jeremy Long, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We are coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And we got a hauntingly good, fun show for you. It's about famous haunted hotels here in the United States. And we have a number of them, and we have a few right here in the wonderful state of Nevada we're going to focus in on. And we hope it excites and frights you.
Would you stay in a haunted hotel?
Absolutely. Would I sleep in a haunted hotel? That is to be decided. Even though I have slept in a number of these hotels that we're going to chat about.
We have.
I didn't sleep very well.
You said that, actually. But, I mean, did you experience any paranormal activity?
No. But, I am not a person that is sensitive to these things. There are people that are more sensitive. They can feel different things. I get in my head sometimes and I can creep my own self out, but I do that here at my home, so I can do that. But we have a number here. A few of these we've stayed at. The first one we're going to talk about is the Queen Mary. The Queen Mary is a ship. It sits in the docks of Long Beach, California. It's very, very famous. And it's one that we actually did a ghost tour in. We didn't sleep in it, but
right.
There has been so many reported hauntings and so much paranormal activity caught on tape and on EVP and things like that we have to include it. And it's just a ton of fun to even just go visit in a non-haunted way. So Check it out. So the luxury liner was launched in like 1930s, and it was a troop transport. And later on, it carried mail from, I don't know, continent to continent or something like that. And it was very active during World War II. Later on, they were going to they decommissioned it. And for some reason, Long Beach, California decided, hey, that's a good purchase for us. That's going to be a great thing. And so they've had it for a number of decades, and it's sat in the dock. And now it hosts weddings, corporate events. You can stay on it. It is a hotel, and you can tour it. And it's really cool to go see and visit.
Yeah, I mean, we checked it out. We did not stay overnight on the ship, but we did go take an evening haunted tour of it, which taught us a lot of the history of the boat and showed us where a lot of paranormal activity has happened, and let us go into different rooms that were unoccupied that are known to have paranormal activity. My question for you is, because we were in a group of around 30 people, did you feel anything spooky or creepy, or do you think when you're in a group that large that you're just kind of walking around with a group of people?
I think it's like going to a movie or watching TV or something like that. Sometimes you just have to suspend reality for a bit. You have to understand that there are other people around and there are things happening. I think there was a wedding happening on the ship whenever we were there.
There was an event happening in the main
so
ballroom.
There was music kind of, reverberating and things like that. So it's not the best place to do an active paranormal search right there. But it is a good haunted history tour. They do lean into it, and they're excited that you're there, which makes it all better, I think. And a number of the places that they stop you off at, and I believe it was closed when we went, but it's creepy enough just standing on the outside of it, but the swimming pool.
Right.
The first class swimming pool is one of the more paranormal hotspots. Yeah. On the entire vessel. When we went there and we were standing on the outside of it, and it just looked creepy.
It did look creepy.
It felt there was a little energy to it, like, okay, I'm not super sensitive to these things, but I did kind of back away, and I looked at you and I was like, I'm good.
Right.
I'm good
we couldn't go in the door, but there was a window in the door and you could take pictures through it.
Yeah.
And the guide was telling us all of these different things that have happened, things people have seen and heard and felt. And I think they kind of set the tone for you to go up to the window already a little bit creeped out.
Yeah.
But they did say something that I think might be true, that the water is maybe a good conductor for paranormal activity and just the location and everything. So I would be interested to go back into that space. However, I don't want to go back into that space alone, I don't think.
Asterisk. And it's not always closed. It wasn't always closed. It was closed off a couple of years ago when people started getting a little too brazen climbing into the pool. I believe our host was telling us. But speaking of hotspot, guests, investigators, paranormal researchers have reported seeing wet footprints mysteriously appear and disappear. Ghostly figures of women in 1930s bathing suits, which I guess was like a full-length suit or whatever. I don't know. And even maybe the disembodied voice of a young lady that allegedly drowned there. So it already looks kind of, I don't know why they built everything in the 1920s and 30s to look like creep us out now, but they did. They did a really good job of that.
They did. And that boat is preserved in that aesthetic. So you walk in and you already feel transported back to the 30s.
You think when they were building stuff back then, they were like, hey, in like 100 years, this is really going to freak people out. Everything that we're doing now. We did get to go inside cabin B340. This is supposedly one of the most haunted rooms. Mm-hmm. And a lot of, there's too many to go into, but all the major paranormal shows, including a lot of really popular YouTube channels, have done overnight stays in this room.
Really?
And on this ship, and caught some pretty gnarly, I'm going to say, video evidence, EVPs, different things like that.
Really? Do you remember our guide told us that they have had people book this room because they know it's supposedly haunted,
right?
And then call their front desk, their concierge service in the middle of the night and say, okay, you can turn the haunted effects off. I want to go to sleep now, thinking that it's all an act.
Yeah.
And the hotel people are like, we're not doing anything. Like, if something's happening, it is truly paranormal activity.
Yeah, they have some really good, I guess, evidence, you would call it, video-wise, and other cases.
That's the room where the blanket, gets ripped off the bed, right?
Yeah,
while people are sleeping?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, can you imagine?
Well, I mean, yes, absolutely. If you've been married, then yes, you can't imagine the blanket being ripped away from you in the middle of the night. But by someone else, no. I don't like that at all. That's of the devil. But yes, children playing shadow figures, all of that, bedspreads moving in the middle of the night. And of course, there's an urban legend of a sailor that was crushed to death, unfortunately, by one of the watertight doors in the engine room. Still says to be roaming the lower decks, reported by guests and tour guides alike. And allegedly, that same door still opens and closes by itself, which only adds to the legend of it. It is, whether you believe or not, it is a really fascinating ship to go check out.
Yeah.
Whether daytime or nighttime. But if you're going to do it, come on, do it at night.
And remember, they took us into that one room, and on the wall were pictures of all the people who have died on the ship.
Yes.
That in itself was a little overwhelming to see how many people have died in the short time that this ship was in service.
I think it adds to everything whenever you can actually see names and faces and causes of death, mm-hmm. because there have been a lot on this ship, and they have an entire room dedicated to
mm-hmm.
it, like you said. And I think it just adds to the factor, that eerie factor of going, oh, wow, okay, yeah. Even if there were natural causes, boy, a lot of people have died on this ship.
Right,
it's actually pretty unsettling when you walk around in there and see all the people,
including wall of photos,
including officers on the ship, like at work doing stuff. So it's very creepy. It is something. It's a wonderful way to kick this episode off. So I hope you stay with us. We're going to have more. We're going to travel to New Orleans next. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. We will be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. My name is Jeremy Long, your host, and I'm here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. We're talking haunted hotels. Perfect time for it. We were just chatting a little bit about the Queen Mary, which is in Long Beach, California. So now we shift our focus to New Orleans, Louisiana. New Orleans has a history on its own. It's, probably one of the most, sought after as far as the paranormal and dark tourism and haunted tourism is concerned. There's a lot of history there. Can't get into all of that, so we're going to focus in on one place, the Bourbon Orleans Hotel. The Bourbon Orleans Hotel, I don't know if you remember this or not, but this was was this our first trip?
This was our first trip we ever took together as a couple.
Yeah, we didn't know it at the time. We didn't travel extensively. We weren't in this line of work or anything like this, and we actually stayed. Unbeknownst to us, we didn't know any of this stuff, and we wouldn't find out until years later. But the Bourbon Orleans Hotel is probably the most haunted hotel in New Orleans, and it has, like all of these, a really long history and a tragic past. It was built in the 1800s. It was initially a ballroom and a theater. Years later, it was actually converted into a convent and an orphanage, and then served as a hospital during the yellow fever epidemic. And it just has this long kind of tragic history. And I don't know if you remember how many corners that we took in like going to our room that evening. And we were just like, what is this?
Right.
Every time we turned a corner, we were like, it got spookier and spookier.
Yeah.
By the time we got to our room, which is at the very end of the hallway on the third or fourth floor that we were on?
Yeah, we weren't very high, maybe the third floor.
I was like, I don't think I want to stay here. I was like, where did you book us?
It felt a little bit like a maze.
Yeah.
The reason I chose this hotel when we traveled was because it is in the heart of the French Quarter.
It really
and
is.
I wanted that full New Orleans experience. Yeah. I'd never been. You hadn't been. I thought this will be a great place to go. I had no idea of the history. It just looked like a beautiful old hotel.
It is
When
that.
you walk in, you are a little bit transported back in time because it still very much has the look and feel of, the 1800s in there. And you get off the elevator and it is a maze to get to your room.
Yeah.
And the rooms, just being completely honest, the rooms are tiny. Like there was barely enough room to walk around the bed.
Yeah.
So you have a bed and you have just enough space to walk around. And we did not spend much time in the hotel, to be honest. We slept there, and I think we were maybe too tired
I was like, get me out of here. No.
to spend more time awake in the hotel room. But I do remember I didn't sleep well the whole time we were there.
It was unsettling, to say the least. And this is one of the rare properties that does lean into the haunted aspect of their background. They actually have it if you go to their website at bourbonorleans.com. They have a section of their history called A Haunted New Orleans Hotel, where they recount various things and apparitions, Confederate soldiers, children, nuns from the former convent and orphanage era of the property, a lonely ghost dancer. Hold me tightly.
That's not the words at all.
Is it not? I was totally going to sing that. Hold me closely. Lonely ghost dancer. There you go. I just remembered. Wow, I totally messed that up.
Wow.
But it is regularly.
Please don't change the station. Just
keep it right here. It is regularly ranked among the top 10 most haunted hotels in the United States, according to USA Today and a handful of others. It is, without a doubt, one of the creepier places we have stayed. So,
well, I think it's because of that history. So when it was a theater and ballroom, it's another one of these properties where there was a fire destroying part of the building. It was then turned into an orphanage where no doubt things happened.
Yeah.
So a lot of negative history has happened here. And, as we've said before on the show, when bad things happen, spirits are maybe getting tied to these locations. And this particular hotel, even though it's been renovated, there's still just this dark energy there.
Guests have frequently seen a ghostly dancer, the one I was just singing about, twirling across the ballroom floor, dressed in 1800s attire. She is said to be waiting eternally for a partner who never arrived. Whoever stood her up, you're a jerk. The Confederate soldier, remember this is Civil War time, so the apparition of a Confederate soldier is seen pacing the 3rd and 6th floors. Likely a lost soul from the Civil War era. These are just kind of ghost stories that have attached themselves to the hotel.
It says there's several reports of curtains and draperies rustling in rooms when there's no windows or the AC running. The curtains just move on their own.
Yeah. This one is the one that gets me. The sounds of children's laughter echoing through the hallways, especially on the upper floors, which is a lingering presence from the hotel's time as an orphanage. You know how I feel about ghost children. I don't play with that, especially if they're British or something like that. I do. So for some reason, no. No. I don't play with that at all. But there has been a ton of paranormal evidence that's been captured. EVPs with the laughter, voices of children, disembodied voices. Visitors often report hearing footsteps behind them only to turn and find no one there. Investigators have recorded temperature drops, strange light anomalies in the ballroom. It's all very active. There's a lot going on. Like you said, it's right in the middle of the French Quarter, which we could do an entire show, and I think we will in the future, just on the French Quarter in New Orleans itself. But one popular ghost story,
which is to me the creepiest of them all,
is about a nun who allegedly still walks the hallways. She reportedly died caring for children during the yellow fever epidemic and is seen in full habit praying over invisible patients.
No, thank you.
What?
No,
it's
thank
a nun.
You. A nun praying for people, but she's a ghost nun.
Ghost nun? I don't think those movies helped that recently came out. But
no.
It is, and it's, as one of the ones we have actually stayed in, if I would have known at the time, I think it might have changed. I don't know how I would feel about it now. But like you said, we went there. We had an uneasy feeling. We kept saying to each other,
right,
it looks creepy. It feels a little creepy, but we didn't know any of this history.
We didn't, and like I said, I remember not sleeping well the entire time we were there. I just didn't sleep well, and I had no idea why. And then we later find out this haunted aspect of the hotel, and it's like, okay, maybe that explains it.
I slept well.
You did.
Yeah, but that was
alcohol played into that.
That was, thank you, Abita beer. I discovered Abita on that trip, and it was great. So from what I remember, it was a really fun time. And that's New Orleans in a nutshell, kind of like Las Vegas. But there you go. The Bourbon Orleans Hotel in New Orleans. It's spectacular. Add it to the list, right? So when we come back, we're going to have more. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. Be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. Remember, for all of our past episodes and interviews, check us out, unscaledtravelshow.com. We appreciate it when you do. For everyone that's subscribed to us on our podcasting platforms as well, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you find your favorite podcast, that's where you're going to find us as well. We are talking about haunted hotels here in the U.S. My co-host Amy and I, we've stayed at a number of these. We have chatted a little bit about the Queen Mary in Long Beach, the Bourbon Orleans in New Orleans. There you go. And now let's shift our focus once again to San Antonio, Texas, the Emily Morgan Hotel. the Emily Morgan is actually, it has a lot of old architecture on it. You'll have some gargoyles and different things on the outside, but it's actually a pretty modern hotel now. If you go inside of it, they have a lot of modern amenities. Its proximity to the Alamo in San Antonio, in this whole square where basically the battle for Texas took place. So a lot of death, a lot of destruction before the founding of Texas as an actual state and everything, the battle between the U.S. and Mexico. So it has a lot of war energy, things like that kind of centered around this area. So the Emily Morgan was originally built in the early 1900s. It served at different periods as a medical facility for operating rooms, psych wards, and even a morgue.
Oh.
So...
Well, you're already setting the stage for a creepy place to stay.
Again, the proximity to the Alamo is kind of what leads it to its cadence as a popular place for paranormal activity. The Emily Morgan is another one of these places that regularly ranks as one of the top haunted hotels in the United States. And it's because, at least in part, of all the paranormal encounters and investigations that have happened around there. The 14th floor of the Emily Morgan is supposedly, frequently haunted by hospital gurneys rolling down the hallways, sounds of it, accompanied by whispers of nurses and doctors, which hospitals already.
Yeah.
We walk into a hospital now and I get creeped out.
Yeah.
I'm just one of those people, but ghostly hospitals, meh. Don't like that at all. So I will say this.
Ghostly hospital.
I went on a ghost tour with my buddy, Robert Anthony, who owns RJA Ghost Tours in San Antonio. Free plug for him. But he has a lot of great information on the haunted places around San Antonio. But while we were standing outside the Emily Morgan, he was giving us some background and some urban legend to the hotel. We saw a ghost in the window on I believe the third floor. It was lower down to the ground, and everyone saw it. It wasn't just me. I wasn't crazy. Everyone saw it. I got out my phone, and it's a guy in his underwear with a sheet on his head. And he danced for us.
So, was this set up by your ghost tour guide, or this was just a guy staying in the hotel that knew the haunted history and stood in front of the window, mostly naked with a sheet over his head?
I don't know if he even knew the ghostly history. I think he knew adult beverages had been served earlier, and he just started dancing for a group of people that were outside of his windows. I took a video. I loaded it up to my TikTok. It's by far my most popular video on TikTok. And he danced for a while, even longer than I captured on video. The thing about it, the thing the video doesn't show is that there is another couple in a separate room. They see what's happening. They can't see the guy who's dancing in the window, but they also joined in and put sheets on their heads and started walking around their window. And I didn't capture that because we were already laughing too hard.
How odd is that, though?
But if you know anything about it, you see a group of people standing at your hotel at night and pointing up at her or whatever, more than likely hopefully it's about ghosts. I don't know.
Is that something when you check in, they tell you, look, if somebody's looking up at the hotel, put a sheet on your head and dance in front of the window?
We'll give you a discount. You get a free continental breakfast if we do this. But other actual reported hauntings, and not just people being dumb, but spirits of former patients, many of whom, of course, suffered tragic deaths, have been seen wandering the hallways, particularly the higher you get on the floors. For some reason, I don't know. Maybe it's closer to God. I don't know. There have been EVP recordings capturing disembodied voices, infrared cameras catching shadow figures moving through the hallways. And also just the eerie sensation of being watched, particularly near the old psychiatric ward parts of this building.
Well, yeah, that's terrifying in itself.
One particular story involves a woman dressed in a hospital gown who is seen walking into guest rooms late at night, only to vanish into thin air when approached. Again, who is approaching these things? Like, if you're in a hospital gown and we ain't at a hospital, I ain't walking towards you. Maybe I've lived in Vegas long enough that I'm like, you know what?
No.
Nope. You don't take stuff that people try to hand you when you're walking down the strip, and you don't approach people who are in hospital gowns.
I think the takeaway here is if you see a ghost, just leave it be.
Yeah.
If you go over to it, it's going to disappear. If you are fascinated by ghosts, just keep your distance and let it do its thing.
Try to take a picture.
Right.
Get one for the grandkids, hopefully. Because it's either one or two ways, right? They're going to disappear, or you're going to bring something home with you. And I've seen that movie as well. And no, thank you. Ain't approaching.
Hopefully they're not the ghosts that, like, attack people.
Yeah, those are like angry spirits, right?
Yeah.
For the most part, I think ghosts,
that's what we've
they say
heard.
ghosts, like ghost energy is like just memories. Like these apparitions are just replaying the same memory over and over again, and they just happen to be live for us.
I guess so. I mean, but people do
different
report
periods.
getting scratched and pushed and like, I don't know. I've never had anything like that happen to me.
And I don't want it to happen. I just, again, I'm not very sensitive to these things, but I don't want to. I don't want nothing scratching me. Are you out of your mind? No. You know what? I'd like to change my answer from earlier. No, I don't want to sleep in any of these places ever again. Although they're all beautiful hotels. That's a ringing endorsement. It's the Unscaled Travel Show. Keep it right here. More haunted hotels. We'll be right back.
Unscaled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unscaled Travel Show. I'm your host, Jeremy Long, here with my co-host, Amy.
Hello.
We're coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. Remember all of our past episodes, interviews, check us out, unscaledtravelshow.com. We are talking all about America's haunted hotels. You should be writing these down. We've given you some good ones. Now we are going to look at the East Coast, to one we got to stay in, I think last year.
Yeah.
We stayed in probably one of the oldest hotels in the United States. It's literally older than the nation itself. It's been around for over 300 years now, and it has an incredible past. We can't get into all of it, but it was built in 1716. Do the math. It's older than the United States, right? At one time, it was a storehouse for arms and provisions during the American Revolution. And when the British came to seize those arms and ammunitions, this is when a lot of fighting broke out, and literally steps away is where you're going to find the North Bridge, where the whole fighting at Lexington and Concord. Yeah, Concord is this place. It's called Concord's Colonial Inn, the 1716 Inn. And we got to stay there, and it is all sorts of heebie-jeebies.
Oh, right. So
this is the one.
if you listen to this show, you know that Jeremy loves history.
Yes, I do.
So we went to Massachusetts last year to go see a few spooky places, but we were like, since we're so close to Concord and Lexington, we're going to go so he can see this spot, this North Bridge, where, what is it, the first shots of the American Revolution?
Yeah, what they characterize as the first shots of the American Revolution, yes.
We had no idea that the place we booked to stay was haunted. It's an adorable little town, I will say. And
Yes.
this place is located right in the center of it. But when you drive up to it, there is kind of a weird thing because it looks like multiple houses that have all just been, I don't know, like attached. Like it started as one house, and then maybe they bought the house next to it and they built a hallway, and then they bought the one behind it and built a hallway. So it's a little weird to look at to begin with. You're like, where's the front door?
Yeah, we were just kind of staring at it. We're like, how do you get in? But we eventually made our way inside. So like I said, it has a ton of history, and that includes haunted history. At one time, it served as a morgue. There was a doctor who treated soldiers that stayed on the property. Even famous authors and writers, 1835 to 1837, Henry David Thoreau resided there in this building while he attended Harvard. So, I mean, there's a lot of history and intersecting lives kind of, all meshing together that in this one place. And there are so many accounts and so much paranormal evidence when it comes to the Concord's Colonial Inn, including one really fascinating one that you found on YouTube.
Yeah, there is a YouTube video. So there's a room, it's room 24 on the second floor. That is supposed to be the most haunted room in the inn. The website even says, if you want to stay in a haunted room, ask for room 24. But this hotel has been on Ghost Hunter Show. A lot of other ghost hunting teams have gone and they have YouTube videos. And there is one YouTube video that shows the door of room 24 closing all by itself. Yeah. It is on video. You can say what you want. Maybe it's faked. I don't know, but it's very creepy to watch. But that's not the only thing. I mean, there's so much paranormal activity that this hotel has been called the most haunted hotel in Massachusetts for several years running.
Yeah. You mentioned the shows. Countless shows have featured the Colonial Inn. Sci-Fi's show, if you watch Ghost Hunters, which I know a lot of you do, go to season 6, episode 14. They do an hour-long episode on just this, just the Colonial Inn, and they come up with some good stuff. And then, of course, there's the ones that are just firsthand accounts and things. They have a story in 1966, newlyweds looking forward to their stay there in room 24. Unexpectedly, they were given room 24. They have a whole encounter. The bride and the groom were like, we're not staying here anymore because something's going on in this room. They have some names to it. Go check it out. I mean, a rare property that leans into it and says, hey, yeah, we're aware that something happens here in our little slice of heaven in this part of the world. But hey, if you want a piece of it, ask us and we'll put you up if there's availability.
Right. I mean, this is another one of those hotels that if you search TripAdvisor, you will find people leaving reviews that this hotel is haunted. People who didn't know, like us, who just booked this hotel and then afterwards left a review like, yes, the room I stayed in was for sure haunted. And the hotel responds and like, yes, we agree. Room 24 is haunted. But apparently it's a somewhat friendly ghost. It hasn't harmed anyone, but it's just creepy when you have no idea and you wake up to door slamming and sounds and things like that. But I remember we only stayed there one night because we were moving to a different part of the state. But you didn't sleep well that night.
I didn't. When you stay on the first floor, in the first floor room that we had, there's windows that face out to, I don't know, a parking lot or something like that behind us. But it's also, it's an old inn. So, I mean, you're not going to confuse it with like the Ritz-Carlton or anything like that. But the doors don't go all the way to the ground. Mm-hmm. They often leave that little sliver of whatever. So light just shines in. As other hotels have done that. In fact, we've stayed at one recently, the St. Francis in San Francisco, that also had the same issue where the door didn't go all the way down to the ground. At night, luckily, we were kind of on the end of that hallway, didn't see anything. I kept seeing feet walk by the door, shadows of feet walked. Yes, there were probably other guests, but it is unsettling. And then to be eye level with a window that looks out to the public. Right. When people are walking around and just, even if it's not ghostly, right. It's still like someone could just be looking in your window. It was just an unsettling thing. And even just walking down the hallways.
Right. Because it's been added on and added on and added on. It is another one of these properties that's truly a maze. They had to show us how to get to our room. And our room was kind of on the back side where the ground sloped away. So we were half underground and half like eye level with the parking lot. Just weird.
It's one of my favorites, and it's definitely something eerie going on there. Stick with us on Scale Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. We're talking haunted hotels in the United States. Had some good ones for you so far. Hope you've been writing them all down. I'm Jeremy Long, your host, here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios, and that's where we are going to turn our attention now. We love to bring it back home and shine a light on our own state. And eventually here right in Las Vegas, we got a lot of things happening. Las Vegas and Nevada in general, probably not known as the most haunted locations in the world, but we do have some doozies.
We do.
We have some really fantastic haunted and paranormal hotels, even though it's overshadowed a lot by the casinos and everything else that goes on here. Before we get into them, there's the one in Goldfield. Mm-hmm. Goldfield, Nevada has a really great haunted hotel.
Right. It is called the Goldfield Hotel. Mm-hmm. It's another one of these hotels that was kind of a boomtown hotel. So very big during the gold rush. And eventually, as people moved on, the hotel was less popular. But it has more than its share of paranormal sightings, activity, things like that. It is considered to be one of the most haunted hotels in all of the state of Nevada. People say that they see ghosts, they hear things like a baby crying. There is a woman. Why is there always a woman? It's always a woman wandering the halls, like sad.
Man, because y'all dramatic. Oh my God. And y'all hold those grudges forever, literally forever.
But
anyway,
stories of this woman sobbing, like people hear her crying in the hallways, things like that. So Goldfield's one of these tiny little towns. There's not many people left there. It's kind of considered a ghost town of its own, even though there are still residents of the town. But if you want to stay in a ghost town, in a haunted hotel in a ghost town, the Goldfield Hotel is a good one to start with.
Yeah, it is an excellent place to start. And after you have your fun in Goldfield, you can head up the road just a little bit farther. So Goldfield is just maybe a couple hours north of Las Vegas. A couple hours further than that is a wonderful place called Tonopah.
Wonderful?
Sure. That is the word I'm going to use. Tonopah. If you're driving around in Las Vegas, if you've ever driven around and you get on some of the highways, you'll often see signs. It'll say, Reno this way, and also Tonopah. And even people who live in Las Vegas go, where the heck is Tonopah? What is this or whatever? And why is it featured so prominently on signage in Las Vegas or whatever? And I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but it's home to two of the creepiest hotels you will find on God's green earth. Okay. The first one, well, you know what? The second one we'll talk about. The first one is the world famous Clown Motel.
Yes.
The Clown Motel is just as scary as it sounds. It is horrific.
I'm not afraid of clowns, but every time we drive by this, and we make the drive from Vegas to Reno a couple of times a year, and Tonopah is kind of that halfway point, and there's only one road in and out, so you are driving past the Clown Motel. I'm not afraid of clowns, but this motel is creepy looking. It's painted purple, has giant polka dots all over it. This 20-foot tall wooden clown outside of it next to the sign. And then every room, from what the research we've done, every room is like a different clown theme. That just sounds terrifying.
It is horrifying. And they have leaned all the way into it. Obviously, if you're going to have the world famous Clown Motel, which, yes, I'm looking at a picture of the 20-foot tall clown outside, which looks friendly and bubbly. If you go and Google it, okay, if you go to like Google Maps or something like that and bring up the pictures of it, you start seeing the pictures of inside the decor, some of the paintings. One of them features a lady. I'm looking at it right now. She has a red nose, and she's looking out a window, and who's looking back? It's like a picture of Jason.
No.
Or who's the Michael Myers? That's the one.
Nope.
Michael Myers staring from the other side of the window. But she's got a fun little clown nose on and everything. So this is one place to check out if you go to Tonopah. The other place is the Mizpah. The Mizpah is right down the street. It has a longer history than the clown hotel or motel, excuse me. But it doesn't have as much, I don't know, in-your-face scariness. It's more subtle, right? So the Mizpah was built in the early 1900s, in 1907 to be exact. It was really a beacon in Nevada's gold rush. Miners, the people who work in dirt, not young children, miners, travelers, gamblers, everyone kind of, descended upon Tonopah. Tonopah at one time early in the 20th century was a hotspot. It was, where people were making a lot of money hand over fist, but they were leading very rough and tumble lives. So a lot of tragedy, a lot of hauntings, from those tragedies. The first one, like you said, why is it always a woman? But there is a lady in red. The most famous ghost there at the Mizpah is this lady, okay? According to legend, she was either a prostitute or a socialite. I don't know. You couldn't be more different here. They're not very clear on it.
They don't know. That's what that means. She was just a lady wearing red. She died in the hotel.
Maybe she's
stuck there.
Socialite prostitute. I don't know. No judgment here.
Those are called escorts.
She was allegedly unalived there at the hotel in the early 1900s. Different version of the story, obviously. So maybe it was a jealous lover, or maybe an angry customer. I didn't know how to word that. And so they often smell her perfume, see her walking, sometimes sitting on the edge of a bed, looking at people, which, what's that about?
Right. But she apparently only haunts the 5th floor of this hotel. So if you're on the 4th floor, you may be in luck, and no lady in red visiting you in the night, unless you want her to, and then stay on the 5th floor.
That was... well, that would get into the more escort part of that story. So I don't know. There's different versions of how she met her end. All of them tragic, of course, but there have been a number of paranormal encounters and evidence captured about this lady in red, especially the perfume. The perfume is the mark of it. You can smell it on the air.
Is it white diamonds?
Yes, it is. It is. That's so funny. Why is it always white diamond? Oh my gosh.
Well,
You turned me off. Your grandmama is haunting. Your grandmama is haunting the 5th floor.
Moving on. She's not the only ghost in this hotel.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh, you have me crying now.
Who else is haunted? God, the white diamond.
Okay. Anyway.
Go ahead. What else?
So, because it was a mining town, there's ghosts of a lot of what they are assuming are miners. Again, people digging in the dirt, not children.
Not children. Okay.
But people report there's obviously the sounds, cold spots. They hear what they say are miners in the basement, like working, I guess. Which, why are they digging in the basement of the hotel? I don't know, unless they think there's gold under there. There's gold in their hills kind of thing. But this is one of those hotels that has multiple ghosts and multiple locations haunting it. So you have the lady in red on the 5th floor. You have the miners in the basement, which means there's probably more on those floors in between. I would
suggest, there's probably more somewhere. So don't go in the basement. And if you're going to stay there, stay on the 5th floor. You might meet Elizabeth Taylor or your grandmother. She's in red. So I don't know how to close this out with Sunscale Travel Show. We'll be right back.
Unskilled Travel Show is brought to you by Diamondback Land Surveying. For all your land surveying needs, contact Diamondback Land Surveying at 702-823-DBLS.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Unskilled Travel Show. I'm Jeremy Long here with my co-explorer, Amy.
Hello.
Coming to you from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in the Diamondback Land Surveying Studios. And this is where we will end our journey. Some haunted happenings here in Las Vegas, in Sin City. You know, a lot of people don't think about Las Vegas that way. They see the casinos and everything else. They don't really consider the fact that Las Vegas has had its own number of tragedies over the years, and that's left behind a lot of paranormal energy. And, you know, oftentimes, you know, Las Vegas is not long on sentiment and, you know, things like that. So we often tear down old hotels and replace them with brand new ones. That's often been the case. And sometimes hotels move and change ownership, and it's a lot going on all the time. That's the first one we're going to talk about. Okay. The first hotel is, well, in 1980, it was the MGM Grand.
Right.
These days, the MGM Grand is further down, like south on the Strip, and this is now known as the Horseshoe.
Correct.
But in 1980, there was incredibly deadly fire that broke out, one of the deadliest in the United States history, and it really left a mark on the building and the city itself. In November 1980, fire broke out there at the MGM Grand due to, I think, electrical.
It was an electrical fire in one of the delis on, like, the casino floor.
Yeah. And tragically, 85 people lost their lives. Hundreds more were injured. And so there you go. That's just kind of the quick history. Oftentimes, there are other things that go into it as well. There's been a lot of tragedy, you know, and a lot of them we kind of won't talk about, people unaliving themselves and different things in different parts in and around this part. And this particular hotel sits like almost like right in the middle of the Strip.
Right. And because of this fire, a lot of fire codes in hotels across the country were updated and changed because this fire happened. And then 3 months later, there was another fire in another hotel somewhere else that made it very apparent that the fire codes and inspections, things going into hotels being built were not quite at the level they needed to be. So this was actually a very pivotal event in the hotel industry in general. But again, 85 people were killed in this fire. And because of that, here we are 40 years later, and people still report, if staying in this particular tower of the hotel, that they wake up smelling smoke in the middle of the night.
Yeah. Particularly on the higher floors. The fire trapped people on and or above the 25th, 26th floor. So people were very high up. So if you stay up there, this is where people have the most reports, the most activity, and also being very respectful of the things that happen. But these are like unexplained cold spots, disembodied voices, especially near the stairwells where people were allegedly trapped and couldn't get out. So you hear people, some people have caught voices saying, "Help me."
Right.
Others dressed in 80s clothing wandering around the hallways, which
could just be people in 80s clothing.
I mean, just be honest. I mean, it is Vegas. So sometimes there are just people in 1980s clothing wandering around. But a lot of ghostly apparitions.
Right. There is supposedly a older woman ghost who sits down in the casino and plays slot machines. And then people go to sit next to her. She disappears.
Yeah.
Like they say she plays 2 machines at a time. You know, it's your grandma. It's your grandma. She's playing 2 machines at a time, and people will go over to play the machine next to her, and she instantly disappears.
Does it smell like white diamonds?
No, some people say that she does catch on fire before she disappears. I think that probably has to do with alcohol because why would she be in the casino
That
catching on fire? But
no.
yeah, imagine walking over to a machine and sitting down and turning to the person next to you and they're just gone.
Yeah, well, I mean, that does happen on the casino floor. I mean, sometimes, and then other times you'll be sitting by yourself and then people just appear. So there is a lot of hauntings and a lot of paranormal activity that happens there. If you move further down the strip, close to where the modern MGM Grand is a place called the Luxor. It's the big pyramid one.
Right.
Right? It's probably the most famous one now on the strip. It's just from people recognizing it from the outside. It's got the giant light on the top of it that shines to whatever galaxy. I don't know. But it was built, of course, in the 1990s. Allegedly, construction workers, several of them lost their lives. There was a 2007 bombing that a lot of people have forgotten about. It happened in May 2007, and it only involved one young man, and it was kind of a lover's triangle kind of thing. But his spirit is allegedly still attached to the property. And a lot of people falling.
Right.
If you've ever been inside the Luxor, it can be a trip. Mm-hmm. Because you see the rooms, and it is shaped like a pyramid, just like it is on the outside. It's like that on the inside. And so there's overhangs and halls and everything that, you can look over and see.
Yes,
down.
because the hallways are open to the inside. It's like an open atrium, and you are looking down onto the casino floor. And imagine you've been having a few drinks with your friends or partaking in other things that are legal in the Vegas area, and you go up to your room. You're not quite steady on your feet. You go to look over the railing to the casino, and you tip over.
Yeah.
It happens. It actually happens somewhat frequently in this hotel.
Unfortunately, it happens frequently, whether by accident or on purpose. People fall all the time. Well, not all the time, but enough that we make note of it. There have been reports of elevator oddities. Okay. Things moving up and down and turning on and off and going to floors and trying, sudden stops, cold spots in these elevators, which people attribute to the hotel's haunted past.
Right.
We've spent a lot of time in the Luxor over the years, whether going to events or passing through and going to like the Mandalay Bay, which is connected to it.
Going to see shows in there.
People have reported shadow figures walking through the hallways, disappearing into walls. Guests have reported disembodied voices, eerie whispers, especially late at night on the property whenever they're walking alone. Now, these rooms and these hallways that are open aired and you can see down to the casino floor, you're going to hear a lot of noise because it's not blocked off. But when you go down some of these offshoot hallways, and even the parking garages, people hear voices telling them to leave, whispering different things to them. And it's not just the Red Bull and vodkas they've been drinking all night. Okay. It's a lot for some people that enough people have checked out of the hotel because of it.
Right. Well, when the hotel was first built in the 90s, they had a ride. It was called the Nile River Ride, and it was kind of like a lazy river, and you rode in a sort of like floating boat thing through it. They had so many people claim to see ghosts inside the tunnels that the ride went through that within 3 years of opening the hotel, they shut the ride down and drained the water and turned it into something else. How many people had to come out and say, I saw a ghost on this ride for a hotel to say, okay, yeah, we're just going to close this?
What? I've never heard that.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty significant for a brand new hotel to say, yeah, okay, this is enough of a problem that we're going to shut this ride down and just do away with it.
Yeah.
Some people claim that the hotel is cursed, that from the very beginning, with the construction workers dying while building it, that it cursed the property.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know any of this. Wow. Look at that. I learned something. You all learned something. Man. And if you just walk through the Luxor, spend some time in it, people do enjoy the Luxor, and I've enjoyed it during the daytime. If you've ever stayed there, and I stayed there once years ago, not knowing any of this, I didn't know any of this. It probably would have changed my mind. But there is an uneasy feeling. there's almost like when you're going up in the elevators, almost a sense of dread.
Right. Well, this is also the home of the Titanic Artifact Exhibition, which we have not gone to, but there are reports of objects moving inside the exhibition.
What?
People seeing objects suddenly not where they were a moment before. So are these objects haunted from the Titanic?
Just attached to the Titanic objects. And, man, could be. Well, we gave you a lot of great haunted hotels. We hope you get out there and explore them all while you're here in the United States or wherever you are. Enjoy it. Dark tourism, haunted tourism. It's worth talking about, right? That's why we're here. The Unscaled Travel Show. We will see you guys next time.